Let's talk about the Milwaukee Bucks, who are not playing very good basketball at the moment. They lost to Oklahoma City. No shame in that. They lose to the Steph Curry-less Golden State Warriors. A little bit of shame in that. The offense, Rachel, in Milwaukee has really sputtered of late. Dame and Giannis
Yeah.
are still putting up big numbers, but the guys around them just aren't contributing. The last 7 games, I think they're ranked somewhere in the bottom third of the NBA in offensive efficiency. Kyle Kuzma, 3-point shooting has never been his strongest, weapon, but he's shooting around 30% from 3-point range, and teams are kind of giving him that shot right now. About a month to go in the season, how concerned should we be about Milwaukee and where they're at?
I mean, what are we expecting of them? We're not expecting this Milwaukee team to reach the NBA Finals, given the other teams in the East. They're not better than Cleveland. They're not better than Boston. They don't have the talent that matches up with those teams. And they don't look like they're better than the Knicks. So realistically, they were going to be a 4, 5, and 6 team. What are they as we stand here today? Fifth? Is that right?
They are fifth, but they're in basically a dead heat tie with Detroit for sixth.
Okay. So I just don't know when you see what this roster has done so far, and they thought they finally pushed the button on Chris Middleton. I'm not sure trading him for Kyle Kuzma gave them what they needed. I don't think that was their hole in the roster, and it's proving that way so far. I think putting guys around these two players has been a bit of a tinker and something that they haven't quite figured out since Dame came to the franchise. Also, these guys are aging. Giannis is 30. He's fine, but Dame is 34. And I think without the right pieces to sort of carry those guys in the moments that they can't do everything, I think they haven't found that formula yet. So when you say, where do they go in terms of expectations, or can they do what we expect them to do? I never expected them to beat Boston, Cleveland, or New York. So they're kind of doing what I expected.
But did you expect them to be ahead of Indiana? Did you expect them to be competitive
Yes.
at this point with New
Yes.
York? Because they're not there
No,
yet. Like they're
no,
not.
they're not there. I thought it was a good sign. It's funny. There was a lot made of the fact that Dame and Giannis met with Doc Rivers and they had a meeting and all this stuff. That was not because Dame and Giannis were upset and they demanded a meeting with Doc. Doc requested that meeting. And he requested that meeting because he is a player's coach. And he really wanted to know from them at floor level what they thought could work better, what they thought was missing. And I think that's a great sign for a team, because when you have that level of communication and trust between your lead players and your coach, when the coach is open to making changes based on what the lead players want, I think that is the sign of a healthy team. So I didn't have any problem with that meeting. In fact, I thought it was a good idea. And I just feel they need a roster tinker. I don't know. I did expect them to be better than some of the teams you named, or I don't know. I mean, Indiana's a really good team.
Yeah.
Like I expected them to be around the middle of the playoff bracket, right? Of the 1 through 8. And I think that's where they are. And I wonder if this summer, you'll have to tell me if you hear anything, because you're much closer to the ground on trade rumors and free agency and things like that. But I don't know if they can make any real changes that would give Dame and Giannis a better cast around them, which is what they had when they won the title, when Giannis and the Bucks won the title a few years ago, right? Bobby
Yeah.
Portis made a big contribution. I mean, there was just all sorts of things where guys were playing in that right moment, at their prime, at their peak. And some of those guys are still on the team, but just not playing at that level anymore. And some of those guys aren't there anymore. And I just feel like that's going to be the issue, as much as Doc Rivers wants to talk to Damian Giannis about playing style.
Yeah, and they're disjointed offensively. Like they're really good with those two guys. I mean, those two guys are not the problem. But when I watch Bucks games, I feel like the teams are adjusting to Brook Lopez being this 3-point shooter all the time. Like I think it's more
Yeah.
than half his attempts have been from 3-point range. Uh, and they're playing smaller guys on. That's what Oklahoma City did in their game. They put Chet Holmgren on Kyle Kuzma. Like the teams are mixing and matching to give the Bucks problems, and the Bucks are not adapting that way. And I don't know what the fix is. Like to me, they look like a first round team. Like win a first round series, maybe. But then if they get into a matchup in the second round with Cleveland, I wouldn't favor them over Cleveland at this point.
Yeah, but winning a
Um,
first round would be better than what happened last year.
it would. but that's kind of the ceiling. Like I
And by
just,
the way, I think the year before that too, right? I mean,
well, they had the injury. What was the Giannis injury year? That was the one where he went
yeah.
out against the Miami series. That was 2 years
Okay, but
ago.
I'm just saying they
Yeah.
didn't, so if you're a Bucks fan, if they win a first round playoff series, that is going in the right direction. And I just don't think any of us, when we at the beginning of the year made our season predictions, we said, who's going to be in the NBA finals? I doubt that any of the major media outlets predicted that the Milwaukee Bucks would be the one in the East to reach the NBA finals. So if that's your standard, they aren't set up to do that right now, not with the other teams in the conference, like Cleveland and Boston, and even New York to some degree. I just, to me, I don't see this as some huge disappointment because I wasn't expecting them to win the conference or win the title. They will probably do better than they did last year, and that's a good thing. And then I really hope this summer someone can take a good look at the roster and make the changes they need around those guys to have that offense flow better the way you're talking about.
It's so tough to make those changes. Like they have cast their lot with this group. Like they have made their deals over the last couple of years that look brought them a championship in 2021. Did things that made Giannis happy. Getting Damian Lillard at that time made Giannis really happy. We can't forget that. Um, I guess I had more expectations for this team coming in. I thought they would be the biggest threat to Boston in the Eastern Conference. I thought coming into the season, this was even before the cat trade, but I thought coming in, the Knicks would probably have a great regular season. It really hasn't really panned out that way. Cleveland's turned out to have that great regular season. I just thought the Bucks in the playoffs, Dame's a proven guy. Giannis is a proven guy. Middleton at that time was on the team. You crossed your fingers and hope that he was healthy. Brook Lopez is a proven guy. I just thought they'd have enough. They have not had enough. Like the defensive issues they've resolved somewhat. They're a better defensive team than they were most of the time last year. It's just that the offense can't get it going. And if you're as limited as they are offensively, where you're just kind of hoping that two guys make plays, you're going to have big problems in the playoffs. That's for sure.